Good morning, everybody. So I guess it's just me today after a whirlwind tour away. Actually, no, it was not a whirlwind tour. I was just away for a month. Uh, so uh, so now it's just getting back into the swing of things, and I'm running solo today because. Uh, Even though we decided when we were going to do the show once a week, we decided that Monday would be the best day to do it because all her like appointments and everything would always end up falling on a Sunday. Now that we're doing the show on Mondays, all her appointments, Nita's appointments are falling on Mondays. So, um, instead of making it a bad habit of skipping the shows, I decided, okay, let's do this by myself again. And let's all wish Nita good luck and see at their appointments today. So, oh my goodness. So it is Monday, November 10th. November. Can't believe, I think I say that every month, but I can't believe it's whatever month it is. My brain is still in January 2020. So, I never got over it. So, yes, so it is Monday, November 10th, and this is the Rage into the Vlogs show, which I am definitely not ready for, but let's do it. So hello everyone. Good morning. Good morning. This at least here it is a dreary Monday. Um but it's all good. Any day above ground is all good. So, oh my goodness. So, who is joining me today? Oh, hello, Joseph. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Hello, Michael. Hello. Yes, good morning. And we have Melissa also joining me, keeping me company in the chat. It's going to be, I don't know, I think a rather chill, quiet show today. Like I said, Nita is at an appointment with C, so they're not going to be able to make it today. So yeah. So let me, of course. It's been about like a month or so since I've been in a StreamYard, and they keep changing stuff every time I'm away. So let me find everything that I need here. Okay, good. So, welcome everybody to another edition of the Raging 2 the Vlogs show featuring the Raging 1. So it's just me today. And yes, I see you, my beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. If you are joining us from anywhere else other than YouTube, I'm kind of wondering how you did that because I am only streaming to YouTube right now on both our channels. But while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever our shows go live, whether from my channel or Nita's. So yes, I guess we might as well just get this started. So hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
I got nowhere else to go! I got nowhere else to go! I got nothing else.
I really don't. I got nothing else. I got nothing else. So I am the artist for the Furry Fantasy Adventure Tall Tales, and I am the creator of Eagle Raven Air the First Unicorn, a medieval fantasy drama you can read online at egoworks.com. That's EGOWORKS. You can also check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art. And of course, if this was a regular show, I would have been introducing Nita as well, but no, it's just me this time. So, yeah. So I was trying to like clean up some stuff, kind of like simplify my intro a bit, and change up my lighting. Um, I think that the most exciting thing that's happened recently for me is I found out that you can get light diffusers for desk lamps, which I use, which that's pretty much what I use in the office. And it's like these little socks that you put on your desk lamp so that it kind of like keeps, like, I kind of hate having to see the light bulbs in my periphery, so I put these little socks on, and it's working much better. The lighting. The only problem is that I did change my lighting a bit, and and for some reason it's really highlighting my nose. So it either means I need to moisturize or I need to change my lighting a bit. So especially since I have this little dry patch here, it's like Jesus. It's like, yeah, like I want to look at that, for the entirety of the show. So, oh my goodness. Oh, Melissa says it only takes one person to rage. Yeah, well, hopefully today we will not be raging against the machine today. Um, because that's kind of the topic of the show today. Is not raging, is actually doing the opposite of raging. So a little housekeeping before I start. As I said, I'm doing a couple of changes around here, and one of the changes that I am going to be doing is I am coming back Wednesday with my live stream. Let me just make it official here. So yeah, I'm coming back Wednesday with my live stream, but this time the time is different. I will be, instead of doing it from 4 to 6, I'm going to be doing my live streams every alternate Wednesdays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. I know it sounds, it sounds a little bit too early, but uh Jose's schedule has changed at work. So he's now coming home earlier than he usually, that I'm usually used to, which is where I would schedule the my draw streams around. And now because he's coming home earlier, I'm going to run the live stream earlier as well. So kind of like, you can listen to me as you're just wrapping up your day at work if you're going to have me in the background. So yeah, so if you enjoy looking over an artist's shoulder as they work, you can join my live streams, like I said, every alternate Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So there will be a live stream this Wednesday. And yeah, just so that's so everybody knows, that is yes. Yes, I'm back with the live streams. And for those, and also it's like if you want like a more chill draw stream where we're just pretty much talking about anything, actually a little bit more random than this show itself, and you kind of like the feeling of like being at a convention and talking to an artist, but not have to worry about whether you're blocking my table or not, then you join me then. So yeah, so that's pretty much the main change. Also, just for everybody to know, hold on, how do we do this again? No, not that. I don't want that. Oh my goodness. Everything is popping up except the thing that I want. So just to let everyone know that JD Calderon, he has a new Oswald campaign up because of course he does. So this is the next collected trade paperback of the Oswald Chronicles. It is Fallen Gods. And it is actually the first, I think it was the first long form, full color story that he did for Oswald. And now we're finally collecting it in a trade paperback. It has 7 days to go. So thank you to the 45 people who have supported the campaign so far, raising $1,269. So you have 7 days to pick it up. And the link is in the chat as well if you want an easy easy way to go get it. Also, speaking of links as well, there is also a link in the chat for the pre-launch page for Eagle Raven issue 12. So I'm currently working on that issue, but I figure I get the pre-launch page up. So thank you to the 23 backers, followers who have who is following the pre-launch so far. So by joining the pre-launch, you get notified when the campaign goes live, and you could be one of the first ones to pledge to the campaign and not miss out on anything. So yeah. Oh, that is so. Oh my god, it's like I'm so self-conscious about that now. Because in real life it doesn't look. It doesn't stand out the way it does, but the way I have the lights set up, I'm gonna have to change something. So, oh my goodness. Um, So, oh, hey HR. So yes, I think that's pretty much all the oh my goodness, you can tell I haven't done this in a bit. This all the housekeeping that that I have in the wings right now. So yeah, enough about that. So yeah, so I was gone for about a month, but even before that, I know everybody has noticed that we have been incredibly irregular with our schedule, and that's because I have things going on that required me to be out of state and unable to stream. Um, so that was so that was part of it. I'm hoping that for the next couple of months will be more of a settled space where we can be on a proper schedule. But we'll see, but I'm going to try my best. I am trying to keep an actual schedule. While I was away, I learned a couple of things which is part of, like I said, the topic of what we're going to talk about today. And the first time I went away to Florida, I was staying in Miami and helping my mother pack up her apartment because we're moving her back to New York, but certain things have to happen first until the finality of that happens. So pretty much I spent August and November packing up her apartment and getting everything out and dealing with the moving company and everything, putting her stuff into storage. I mean, it's like she's not sitting in an empty apartment. It's like she still has plenty of furniture to have a functional apartment. It's just the furniture she didn't want to bring back to New York. So it's working out. It worked out fine. But the last time when I was there in August, I realized that I had spent way too much time than a normal person, or maybe for me, maybe normal people are spending hours at a time, brain rotting on their phone. And and I didn't want a repeat of that. Even though I appreciated the rest that I had for that month in August, I didn't appreciate how I did it. Because most of the time when I wasn't packing, I was literally rotting in bed, scrolling on my phone, just like looking at like reels that honestly, for the life of me, I couldn't, I couldn't tell you one reel that stood out for me. Um, so, so when I had to come back, when I realized I had to come back in November, um, well, actually, it was October. October. We are in November, right? So I'm a little off. So I was there in August, and I was in October. Um, and when I realized I had to come back in October, I didn't want to do that again. I do have a lot of work that I had to do, and I didn't want to waste my time another month just scrolling on my phone. So I did a couple of things in preparation this time for my October trip that I didn't do for my August trip. And the first thing that I did was I removed all social media from my phone except for Facebook Messenger, and um, YouTube. So those are the only two things that I had. So if Nita needed to contact me through Messenger, which she usually does, I mean, she could text me directly, but I have Messenger just in case. But it's like unless so if Nita was contacting me through Messenger, I was able to contact her back. Um, and the second, and then I kept YouTube because that's where pretty much that's my television. I don't really watch television. I watch, well, I don't, I, not that I don't really watch television. I don't watch television. Um, so I always, I'm more, excuse me, I'm more watching YouTube. So, so that was the only one that I decided to keep. Ooh. Yeah, you can tell that I haven't done this in a while because it's almost like it feels like I haven't gotten used to talking again. So, um, so the second thing that I did, this required a bit of an investment on my part, but it was in the end something that I have been looking at for years, but something had finally came out that I decided that, you know what, I'm going to finally take the plunge on this. So for the longest time, I had played around with the idea of getting an iPad because I don't have a laptop anymore, so I couldn't take my Wacom Cintiq with me. And and the thing is, though, and it's kind of like the amount of wires that is involved too. I really didn't want to take it with me anyway, because it would have required a setup that I really didn't want to have. Um, if there's anything about working in my office is that for the longest time I have been feeling very tethered to the office because it's not like I can take my Wacom anyplace else because I need my computer to do it, and like I said, I don't have a laptop. So I've I've been like thinking of getting an iPad, and I had already been looking at iPads because I wanted something portable that I could actually run uh like either Photoshop or Clip Studio on. Um the only thing that kept me from, well, actually there's a couple of reasons why that it took me a while to commit to something like that is because one, iPads are unnecessarily expensive. Um, and also I don't like Apple products. I really don't. I've pretty much was able to stay away from them as much as possible. There was a little bit in time where I did have one of the original MacBooks, and but I never got to really liking working on any Apple products. Um I'm a PC girly, and that's what I'm going to stay. So, so that was the thing. Also, it's like I was reading up on Melissa says Android is the software of the people. Yes, yes, it is. Um, so I really couldn't get myself to commit that type of money for a product I knew I wasn't going to be really happy with, especially when I was reading that you had to get the iPad version of everything. So even though I have Clip Studio, even though I have Photoshop, I wasn't going to be able to work on a full version of those programs on an iPad. So, so that kept me away for a while. I know that Samsung had come out with their own tablets, and then it's like, then it's like you have like the Huions and everything. But again, it's like, even though I switched my attention over to Xpen and Huion, I wasn't really thrilled at the idea of getting that much away from Wacom. I mean, everything that I have here is Wacom or Wacom adjacent, and they all work with each other. And I didn't want to get something that kind of like separate. It was something else, you know. And luckily for me, in the last couple of months, Wacom finally put out its own version of an iPad. Now, Wacom already had their own versions, but I wasn't I don't know, like for some reason it didn't register, right? But this time they came out with something called the Wacom Move Inc. 11, which is different from the Wacom Move Inc. like 13 that they had already, but that's kind of like a different format, like a different thing going on there. This is the most iPad adjacent product that Wacom has put out that I was looking for. And because I did not want to go to Florida empty handed, I mean, granted, I could have just taken a sketchbook, right? But I really wanted to work on my pages. I really wanted to work in Clip Studio. And the thing with the Wacom Move Inc. is that it came with Clip Studio already installed on the thing. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Everything that I'm hearing about this is everything that I need. And I think for the price point, which was around like $600 when you include tax and everything, close to 600. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the punt. I'm going to get the Wacom Move Inc. And I'm going to work. I'm going to take my work with me. So I got it a couple of days before I left, and I played around with it for a bit. Um, and and yeah, and it's right here. So this is, I had to buy a case for it and everything, right? But this is the Wacom Move Inc. 11, which means that the screen is 11 inches. Now, I thought that having that small of a screen might be an issue for me because, I'm so used to working on a larger screen on the Wacom, on my Cintiq. But at the same time, I didn't want anything that could be larger than a sketchbook because then it just becomes unwieldy, and I didn't want to deal with like the weight of having to carry all this equipment either. So this is the Wacom. So this gives you an idea of how big it is, right? And it does have Clip Studio on it. And the thing that I was able to do is that for $20 extra, I was able to upgrade my Wacom subscription so that I could get the full version on this tablet, as opposed to what I found out later was kind of like a stripped down version. I forgot, I think it's like Clip Studio Debut or something. I don't remember what they called it. And I thought that it was worth it for me to just spend the extra $20 to use the full version of it um on on this tablet. And as you can see, it's the full version of Clip Studio. Now, I did have to get used to it, right? Because it is touchscreen, right? So I'm able to use it like an iPad, right? But I had to figure out all the little options to shut off so that I'm not making stray marks on my screen. And of course, as you can see here, I have a page from issue 12 of Ego Raven that I'm working on. And my process hasn't changed at all. Like everything is identical to working on this screen as much as it is working on uh the Cintiq. And Melissa's I had already blinked out with stickers. Of course. You can't get a case and not slap stickers all over it. So, and what I ended up finding out now, because it was so soon and I really didn't have enough information on how this thing worked, I ended up buying, which I kind of regret, but it wasn't that expensive. So in the end, it was just more annoying. I ended up buying a portable, like Bluetooth uh, keyboard because this is also Bluetooth. So, because it's like I needed my shortcuts, I needed access to my shortcuts. So, I like to use a keyboard with my shortcuts. And it's like, okay, it's like this way I'm kind of like faking a laptop. And also, I was able to put Word for Windows on this. So I go, okay, if I needed to type anything, I could just use like literally fake a laptop with the keyboard without having to actually invest in a laptop. So I thought everything, okay, I'm prepared, this, that, and the other thing. I get to Florida, right? And I do what I need to do. So let me just put this down. So I do what I need to do there. And then I finally get to the point where, okay, now I have dead time. I have everything packed up. Um, and it's like, and it's going to be like another 2 weeks before the movers come to pick up the stuff. So, so now here's my downtime, right? So when last time I was, rotting in bed on, on social media, this time I was purposefully set up not to do that. Um and I have to admit, it was a very interesting experiment, not purposefully staying away from social media, right? And what I found what was happening, right? Because I didn't have social media on my phone and there's only so many YouTube videos that I could watch, um, I decided I was finally going to use my tablet. And I ended up playing around with it because, okay, there's nothing else for me to do. So let me like really get into figuring out the tablet. And what I found out about this tablet, the other option that it has because it's a tablet, is that it has this little tab that brings up all the shortcut keys. So I realized that I never needed to get a keyboard. All my shortcut keys are right here for Clip Studio. And very quickly I figured out how to do how to pretty much work this um without a keyboard and just using it as a tablet, which made it 100% portable. I didn't have to set it up, anywhere. I didn't have to set up kind of like a desk area or anything. And I very, very quickly learned that I could ink in bed. That I could literally just lie in bed and instead of rotting on my phone, I could be just inking. And I really got a lot of work done. And And, aside from a couple of hiccups, because again, it's like there were certain settings I had to turn off and, and really limit, um, the gesture, like the gesture controls, and, have it set up so only the pen makes marks. So I'm not accidentally drawing with my fingers or like hitting, making little marks. Um, Melissa says, I have a Surface and I find it so tricky to use Clip Studio on it without the keyboard. There's some shortcuts on the side, but it's more trouble than it's worth. Yeah, I guess it depends on how you have it set up. Because in the end, I really only needed the shift key. And so once I have that clicked, I'm able to like say, like when I do my shading, instead of just like outlining an area and then only able to shade that area at a time with the shift key activated. Now the trick is that this bar has to stay open. With the shift key activated, I can outline all my shading on the entire panel and then just fill it in one shot, and then it's done, and then it's like my work is done. I don't have to like go back and forth. And I have all my other shortcuts up here as well. And I was just really surprised. Like, honestly, it's like it made me realize, one, that if it wasn't for the fact that I forced myself to get bored, I wouldn't have jumped into the tablet as hard as I did. Um, but like I said, the fact that I could take this anywhere, I could sit on the sofa, I could sit in bed, I could sit up in bed, I could be on a chair, it's like I could be anywhere with this tablet, and it was felt exactly like working in a sketchbook. It was just the right size, except the best part about it is that instead of having to turn the sketchbook, I was just able to just like rotate the canvas. So I could keep the board, the tablet straight, and then just rotate when I need it. Hey Nicholas, hey Nicholas. Um, oh, the sorcery comes in a minute. So, so this tablet really got me through the entire month being productive. Um, because it's like if I had any time whatsoever, I was inking, and I was like, and I got through a lot of pages. I'm on, so it's like for some reason I ended up starting backwards in on the tablet. So so I ended up, let me see, where is it? No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want either. Okay, where is it? Okay, so we do that. We'd go up. Yeah, I have to. Okay, there we go. So I was able to do like, what is this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 16 pages while I was away. I'm working on this one right now. But yeah, the fact I was surprised that I was able to get this many pages done. Um, just by being on a tablet. And I'm still working on it. You see, the funny thing is that I thought that when I got back, I was going to put the tablet away and go back to using my Cintiq. And I have yet to turn this thing on. I've been working exclusively on pages on the tablet this entire time since I got back. Like just yesterday, I was able to take my tablet and go to the sofa and watch this absolutely ridiculous horror movie that Jose was watching with him. I was just on the sofa and I was able to work and kind of like listen to this, half watch, half listen to the show. Oh, so Nicholas, because you came in late, this is the Wacom Move Ink 11 with a full version of Clip Studio Paint on it. Um, that I have been using for the past month, and I am completely addicted to this thing. So yeah, so the fact that I was able to go everywhere in the house, I've already worked in bed with this. I'm sitting on the sofa working on my pages. And also what I liked is just being able to like not be on my computer, because even though, I have YouTube on this, it's like there's the way it's set up, there's nothing there to really make me go, "Oh, let me play, let me do something else at the same time." It's very, very dedicated. It's like I'm on this thing, and it's only in Clip Studio Paint that I work in. It's like I don't really open anything else. And then the best thing about it is that because it's connected to my Google account, when I finish a page, all I have to do is um, upload it to my Google Drive, and I can download it to my computer that way. So, it's really, really convenient. I think, look, it's like on the way back, I was working at the airport waiting for my flight, right? I was working on these pages, and then I lucked out and had an entire row to myself on the airplane. So I sat in the middle seat, set up the tablet on the middle seat, and like literally spread out. And I made that row my little studio for 3 hours. And I was just working, like I was just working on page. I almost finished a page. I came very close to finishing a page on that flight. I mean, and it was just like really mind blowing, and it's like, yeah, and it's like it was just like, wow, you know what? I would trade the entirety of social media for this any day. Um, so I was just, yeah, so it's the wake up. This is none of this is sponsored, by the way, although I wish, right? But but honestly though, I think that for the price point and the freedom to wander that it gives me, um if that's what you're looking for, and you're looking for something that pretty much it acts the same way as what you're used to already, but you could take it places. Look, I'm actually looking forward to jury duty so that I could take this with me. you that's how convenient this is, and it's super light, so yeah, so if you're looking for something like something that's like an iPad but not an iPad, and it's just uh a dedicated graphics tablet, Wacom, highly recommend Wacom Moving 11. um it's runs around like 500 something. Like I said, it came out to like closer to 6 once you add all the taxes and things. um but I think it's really worth the money. I mean, like I said, I have yet to work. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my Cintiq to act the same way as the tablet, because I was really looking forward to like having a larger version of what I had on the tablet. But there's something with Windows that's interfering with its ability to act like a tablet, with with the gestures. And I look, in the end, it doesn't matter because I've just been using this, the moving. And the thing that surprised me the most is that all this time, I thought that I would have needed to have upgraded to a larger screen. Um, and and it's like, in the end, it turned out that it's not the screen. It's kind of like the UI. It's just the way that it's set up, that it doesn't matter that I have a smaller space to work with, because I'm able to move it however I need to, and then I have my shortcuts on the side. It it doesn't feel restrictive. And like I said, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm all in. Um, so I was very happy with that. Like I said, not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money, and honestly, it was worth every penny, every penny. Um, and yeah, so and yeah, and just to give you an idea again, this is how small it is. You know, it's like a notebook. It's like carrying around a sketchbook, which is exactly what I wanted. You know, yeah, but it was perfect, absolute perfection. Um, and so then the other thing, right? So the thing is, though, there were moments that when I wasn't inking, because after a while, I need a little break from that. But again, it's like I don't want to brain rot. So, um, so I just started like, I don't know, just started like thinking. So of course it's like you end up, if you're not on social media and you're not working, you're just lying in bed and you're just thinking, right? So that's also the other thing, right? So this was also the other thing that surprised me too. I think Nicholas, you'll appreciate this part, right? So lying in bed, right? Um, no social media, right? So just allowing my brain to wander, which sometimes is not really a good thing, but a strange thing happened. Um, so everybody in the chat or everybody watching or listening, you have your book, you have your comic, or whatever it is that you're working on, right? And I know that sometimes, in hindsight, right, you're looking at the things that you did, right? The stories that you wrote. And in hindsight, you're thinking about, if I had a chance to do that again, I would change a couple of things, right? And, and I've had that thought pop up. But because I was always so distracted by other things, I was never able to really indulge that idea. Like I had like a couple of things that, like to this day still kind of bothers me in terms of storytelling with Ego Raven. But I go, past is past, it's done, it's in the comic, it's done, this, that, and the other thing, right? But, I'm lying in bed and it's like, well, you're still working on the novelization. You know that, right? And I'm saying, yes, right? And I'm like going, this is the opportunity you have to be able to plug up not necessarily plot holes, but little things in the story that like I said, if I could have done it again, I would have done it differently. Right? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels this way about their work, right? I mean, everybody has a variation of I could have done that better, right? Except this was the opportunity for me to actually do it better because Ego Raven the comic is finished. But like I said, I have Ego Raven the novelization that I'm still in the process of working on. And so this was so my brain was like going, here it is. Here's the opportunity that you've been waiting for. You're lying down, right? You're not doing anything. So we might as well think about this stuff. And that's what happened. And I started going through like there's a couple of particular things, right? That um in the Eagle Raven story, if you'll all allow me a little indulgence of lore here, right? So for those of you who have read early the first, I think it's the first issue of the comic, right? We introduce the Rakans, which is, oh, hey, Lou, hey, which is the kind of like the velociraptor dragons that serve as the guards for the dragon lords, who are the Rikashans, right? They're the more humanoid dragons that we see later on in that issue. Yeah, there we go. Yes, lore drop. We love the lores. Um, and in that first issue, I had made the decision that these animals, that essentially that's what they were, that these animals were going to be able to speak. And they do, and that's how Eagle Raven gets into her first scrap with these these Rakans, which is the raptors, right? And heavily influenced by Jurassic Park, by the way, the original. Yes. um. So um. You know. So I have them threatening her verbally, and then and then chaos ensues. That whole thing, right? And then I never go back to that again. In the entire 16 issues, there is never another. I never put in another Rakan that speaks again. Right? It's kind of like, what happened here, right? And also when you guys read the comic, it's something for you guys to look, to keep an eye out for. Um so so that had been bothering me for a while, and even going back into the comic, I couldn't figure out a, another way of having the Rakans continue to speak. And not only that, not only did I not have a way, but I did not have a reason either. That it's like I had wanted them, that in the end, it's like I had made the decision that they were more animalistic than, you know, than I kind of let on in that first issue. So it's like, okay, so I'm lying in bed, right? And I'm hyper fixated on this now, and I'm like, okay, how do I fix this? Okay, it's in the comic, right? But how do I fix it in the novelization? So it's like, because maybe it's a detail in the comic that most people are going to gloss over and not really think about, right? Maybe, I don't know, right? But it bothers me. But in the novelization, what could I put in the novelization that would explain why why Rillian has raptors that speak, but nobody else does, right? So, and again, it never happens again. So even in the novel, it's like I have no reason for this to happen. I have no reason to show this off. So what I did was I started on my phone, which is another reason why I didn't need the keyboard to, the portable keyboard, because I went into my notes app on my phone and I just started writing out notes to myself as to what could be plausible that I could put in the novelization explaining this, right? So, so this is pretty much what I came up with. So this is pretty much what I came up with for this. Um, so this is going to happen around that same time, where the Rakans attack Eagle Raven. She ends up, it's like he calls them off, and and so I'm going to make a reference to Rillian making a reference to to the the dragons talking. I would say, Nicholas says that's my Google Docs process. Yeah, it's like it only took me a while to figure it out, right? So this is the reason that I came up with, and part of that reason you can thank this guy over here. So this guy, the parrot in the corner that's making all these noises, say hello, Einstein. Um, he's part of the reason that I came up with this particular thing, right? Have Rillian explain that he found it such a shock that Rakans can be taught to speak, and it's considered quite a status symbol to have one that does. But it's very difficult to train them, and there's debate as to whether they even understand what they're saying. He finds it particularly creepy himself. He jokes that he was probably given talking Rakans less as an honor and more as their trainers didn't want to train them anymore. But it shouldn't matter because Rakans have short memories and will probably forget what they learned soon. So that's what I came up with to kind of like fix that. Also also that entire process is also based on a paper. Well, it was an argument against the whole Coco the gorilla sign language thing. Where it was an article, it was also based on this article that was positing that every opportunity, that every attempt that humans have made to teach gorillas and chimpanzees sign language has actually been a failure. And that what we were seeing with Coco the gorilla was akin more to a carnival trick rather than something she was actually doing. Because out of all the research, only one researcher did the translations. It's not like you could get somebody who knew sign language to come in and actually speak to Coco. Everything was coming through this one woman. So they're positing that whatever Coco was speaking was actually projection on the part of this woman, this trainer, rather than Coco actually speaking in sign language. And there was a similar study done with chimpanzees, and what they had found, right, is that except they were training this chimpanzee to speak sign language, right? But the chimpanzee had access to its troop, so to its family unit, right? And not one in the entirety of this experiment of teaching sign language, there was not one point where this chimpanzee was trying to pass that information on to the rest of the family, onto its troop or its family group. It only kept that information between themselves and the scientists training them to speak sign language. But it didn't feel any like the only thing that they could posit out of this was that the chimpanzee had no reason to teach it because the chimpanzee itself didn't feel like there was any reason for it to know this. That it was just performing it was just doing tricks for the researchers, but I guess it didn't feel like that there was enough of a value to it for it to pass that information on. So it was kind of like that was like all this information was kind of flooding my brain just to plug this one story hole. And and it was just and it kept happening. Because because the other thing that popped up that was another thing that was bothering me too, right? About the story is that I always felt like I made Lilith, who is Eager Raven's stepmother, too much of a stepmother archetype. Where too much of the evil stepmother trope. And I didn't feel like I gave her enough of um motivation, you know? And this was also something that had been bothering me for a while. And also, particularly since I did mention that Lilith isn't the only she isn't the only unicorn who feels this way. That there were supposed to be other unicorns. I imply that there are other unicorns that felt the same way as Lilith did. About Eagle Raven, about Alaric had taken, you know, pretty much a human woman for himself, even though she got turned into a unicorn. And, it's like, yeah, rabbit holes like this are amazing. No, really, I went deep in this one. So, I wanted, so it's like, okay. It's like, how do I fix this part, right? How to make Lilith less of a caricature, right? And more of just a really, really angry unicorn with I don't know, like very misguided ideals, right? Because in the end, that's what it was, right? So I go, you know what? What if I had made, I mean, because in the end, Lilith and Rillian, they get together to betray Edenron, essentially the whole of Edenron, to bring the dragons in, because they technically have the same goal. What is it that, how is, what is the same goal that they had, right? That caused Lilith and Rillian to get together and go, okay, we're going to plan this. We're pretty much going to destroy what we have here, right? For the benefit of what we're trying to do, right? So, um, so the whole thing, right, with Rillian is that he resents the unicorns. He hates the unicorns. He hates the fact that the the unicorns still have their magic while the elves bred their magic out, because they ended up with this whole thing with wanting to be with humans so much that they ended up breeding their magic out. Well, they still have magic, but not the way the unicorns do. And because of it, they depend on the unicorns to be able to survive in this world that they're in. So Rillian has that resentment over that, that it's like that his people should be their own people, essentially, right? And what if what if Lilith felt the same way, but it was with the unicorns, that it's like, why are we stuck with you assholes? Why is it that we are the embodiment of magic, but we're stuck here babysitting you guys? You guys didn't even have the respect to keep your magic, and because of that, we have to take care of you. And I kind of like imagined, like, okay, what if that's like this whole like make unicorns great again type of thing? you know that what if she had this kind of thing? And in the end, Eagle Raven represents what neither of them want. They don't want a joining of their two people, even though Eagle Raven's half human. It's, she's raised by elves. It's, she's still considered a connection. Um, and Eagle Raven represents what neither of them want. Although for Rillian, Eagle Raven serves as a means to an end. He still needs her, but Lilith could be like, I'm washing my hands of I want to wash my hands of all of you, right? So, so pretty much I came up with that. Lilith leads a small group of unicorns who want to separate themselves from the elves, just like Rillian wants to separate from the unicorns. Both factions see Eagle Raven as a tether to the other and want to return to a more pure existence without the responsibility of taking care of each other. How do they wear their little red hats, right? you know so so it's like, okay, all right, so I'm kind of like massaging this, right? Massaging this story, this plot hole. And it's like, okay, but I mean, there's still a lot missing. Okay, it's like, okay, I can kind of, like put in Lilith's motivation somewhere. I think, you know, probably, I could probably like put it in somewhere. Like the tower scene, she kind of like explain. I think that's issue 10. Like she kind of no, 10 is 11, issue 11. Like she kind of, you kind of get a sense of what it is that, you know, her actual motivation. But like I just have to find actual spaces in the book where I can kind of fit that in more. Um which in the end led me to kill two birds with one stone, because there was this scene that I had wanted to put into the book, kind of like, almost like, a little lighthearted moment, but it's kind of like a little bit of a comedy of errors type of moment. But not really. Like I had wanted something like that, right? So there's this scene where, again, this is a little ahead. If you've read the last issue, you kind of already know that everyone's reached Edenron. They found the camp with the elves and the unicorns, that they're getting together to, kind of like, they're kind of like a little rebel faction, and they're hunting down dragons, you know, uh, in preparation to try to find their opportunity to seize the castle back. Right. So in the last issue, they're in this camp. So in the novelization, I wanted a scene where it's kind of, well, again, this is where my head's going. I wanted a scene where it's Daniel, Johar, Morgan, and Desmond. They need to take a bath. I wanted to put in a bath scene. So they go to this pool, like a spring or something, right? And it was supposed to kind of be like a comedy of errors, where it's like they're on one part of the pool, Eager Raven's on another part of the pool, and she kind of like ends up coming over. And it's nothing happens, but it's just supposed to be like, what's going on. It's just supposed to be like a little lighthearted moment. Um, but I couldn't get it to work. By itself, I couldn't get it to work, because it was just like, I wanted this goofy moment to happen where, it's like, where just Eager Raven just swims up, and she never comes out of the water, right? But she's just enough out of the water to make Daniel uncomfortable. Everybody else is just ignoring. It's like, oh yeah, how you doing? Everyone else, like, to this is I know, right? Exactly. Who doesn't love the mandatory hot springs episode, right? So, oh, hello, Gina, hello. And and it just wanted just to be funny. It's like nothing, and it's like, but I couldn't get it to work, because I didn't want to put in a scene that's essentially fan service for me. And but it doesn't really do anything in the story, right? It doesn't do anything for the story. So there came a point where I thought, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to have to scrap this scene, because I'm not getting it to fit. It doesn't, I can't get it to work, you know? Melissa says, it's always so hard. Um, it's always so hard to cut those little extra scenes. You want to develop the characters, but you really have to ask if it will serve the story. Right, exactly. So that was the issue. Um, um, you know, yeah, well, see, it's funny. I don't know how you're meaning this, but that was kind of how it was turning out. So that's why this scene was not really working for me. Um, you know that I was just trying to shoehorn something in, for myself, rather than figuring out how to get it to fit in the story. So yeah, so I thought I was about to scrap this scene, right? Until the Lilith problem came up, right? So the let's see. Oh no, not the torture the avatar of male cinnamon rollness sense of propriety with vaguely sexual implications. Absolutely, Nicholas. Absolutely. That's Viking slut. We're gonna get back to that at another time, Joseph. I got that story written out. Um, so yeah, so Gina says, how about the flash forward effect? You know, it's so yeah, so I'm sitting here kind of like, oh, Lilith, it's the character that I'm trying to like develop more her motivation in the book that I didn't really build her character up well enough. So I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of like explore her motivation to give it a little bit more body, um so that she's not just an evil stepmother, right? So again, right? So it's like I have this whole make unicorns great again. She wants to separate from the elves. Eagle Raven is like symbolic of that, of like their tether to that world. And there were other unicorns who felt that way. So again, I'm lying in bed, rotting. Oh, I do that, Nicholas. I really do. I have like a whole folder full of these things. Um, and then what happens is that there are a lot of times that I go into that folder because I remember something that I could use. And I just like kind of like pick and choose scenes from those little scraps, and then I can put them in the in where I need them and where they'll actually work. So if you're writing something and you kind of got the cool scene or the scenes that you want or the snippets that you want, but you don't know where to put them, do not delete them. Put them in a folder, because if you don't know where they go now, you will definitely find out later where they go. So, so I'm, again, rotting in bed and I'm bored, right? Because I don't have social media. I'm not just sitting there scrolling. So I start ruminating on this. How do I get this to work? What do I have to show? And then finally, I start writing in my notes app. So I'm killing two birds with one stone here. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is kind of lengthy, but to give you the gist of it, right? Um, Okay, so it's just to give you kind of like the opening. Um, so so as the group are getting acclimated to their tents, remember this is from, maybe this is something that happens, around issue 10 or 11, 11, I think, 11, it's 11. As the group are getting acclimated to their tents, they see a large group of elves leaving camp, all cheery and gossiping while carrying neat bundles of clothing and being escorted by some unicorns. Eager Raven asks Dina, her cousin, where they are going, and Dina explains they're going to the river to bathe and that they alternate as groups so the camp is not left empty or unguarded. So Eagle Raven turns to her men, to Desmond, Daniel, Johar, and Morgan, and asks if they want to join them, right? And all the men look back, all awkwardly agreeing that they need a good bath, but they want to stay away from the elves. Daniel especially shudders at that. Again, if you read issue 11, he gets manhandled by one of the elves, and it's like he doesn't, no, stay over there. Nobody wants to get near any of the elves. But it's like, yeah, so Daniel especially shudders at remembering his encounter with the aggressive Elphus. Okay. So Eagle Raven thinks for a bit and tells Dina that they will take them, that her and the unicorns will take the guys to the sacred pool. She needs to lay Amadeo to rest. Spoiler, if you haven't read. Uh, and the elves will not go there because they are afraid of the strong magic. Dina says there has never been humans at the sacred pool. Eager Raven looks at the men and says they will be under her protection, and Arias, the unicorn goddess, will understand. Um, and then it's like it just kind of like actually, you know what, let me just read a little bit more. As they're going to the pool, the men notice how their talismans are tingling. Remember that the talismans are made out of part of Amadeo's horn, so they're all connected, stronger than before, with Desmond especially feeling it. The closer they get, the more the unicorns join them, or closer to the pool. uh until they reach an overhang revealing the sacred pool, which is several pools connected to a main pool with a waterfall. You can kind of imagine it. It's very, you know, it's a pool, right? The men are amazed at how magical the place looks, which is saying a lot. It's a very, very specific place, right? So then I had to come up with this thing. Eager Raven says it's called Arias's womb, as it is considered the birthplace of all unicorns and the center of their magic. Eager Raven says she needs to go further ahead, but that they will be escorted to a more private pool. Remember, all the little pools are connected together. Another unicorn leads them away. Morgan asks if it's really okay for them to bathe there. The unicorn answers that they would not be there if they weren't welcome, and that it is a great honor to be invited. Eager Raven has told them of their feats. She told the unicorns of how the guys helped her, and of their feats, and that for all they have done for her and Amadeo, they are more friends to the unicorns than the elves ever will be. They are all distracted by a splash and see a trail of Morgan's clothing strewn all over with him in the water. So Morgan, the fox, is already in the water. He exclaims that the water is perfect and disappears under the water. Daniel starts removing his tunic, telling Desmond that if he catches another whiff of himself, he's going to pass out. Desmond turns to the unicorn escort and asks if it's safe. The unicorn nods, saying it's the only place even the dragons will stay away from. Desmond asks why the camp wasn't built closer to the pool, and the unicorn sternly states that the elves are not welcome there. So, and that's kind of like how I just keep, keep going. Yeah, there's still a while. There's still a bit there. So, that pretty much what happens is that they're in the pool, they start hearing singing, right? And their unicorn escort tells them that it's like, oh, it's a lamentation for Amadeo. Cue Lord of the Rings, references here. Remember, I'm still massaging this. So, the references are going to be really, really obvious, you know? Um, and that he's going to go to the main pool to join them. So he's telling us, okay, you guys are safe here, so I'm leaving, right? So Morgan, being nosy that he is, oh, I'm going to go follow him. And Johar tries to convince him to don't bother. That's obviously some kind of private thing going on. And Morgan says, Morgan just goes ahead. Johar follows. They're in the water, so they just swim, swims after him. And then Desmond and Daniel kind of like go like this, and then they kind of like swim after them. And then that's where you get the scene switch to Eager Raven, right? She's burying her shard of Amadeo's horn, and they're all doing their chanting or whatever it is that they're doing, right? And then she notices that there's kind of like this different group of unicorns on the side, and she asks about them, and it's explained to her that it's like, oh yeah, Oh yeah, there is a group of unicorns standing on the bank that she recognizes as part of Lilith's group, and learned that they had been pushed out because of Lilith's treachery. They're standing as if waiting for her. Eagle Raven is hesitant at first, but is told no harm will come to her here, so it will be safe to hear them out. She faces them, and they tell her, it's like, we heard the singing, we heard the song, and we came over knowing that they were outcast, but we came anyway. We risked coming here. Um, and to offer their sadness. And also they say that they then explain that they regret the harm they caused Eagle Raven over Lilith's campaign, and that the shame and regret were feeling no unicorn was meant to endure. Where they thought Lilith was a savior and Hannah by extension Eagle Raven enemies. Hannah is Eagle Raven's mother. So where they thought Lilith was a savior and Hannah and Eagle Raven enemies, they had learned that it was the opposite, that it was Eagle Raven who returned to save the unicorns from the dragons, while Lilith literally fed the unicorns to the dragons. So Lilith was actually leading, like luring unicorns to the castle for the dragons for whatever they needed them for. Until the point that she herself disappeared. Uh, Eagle Raven admits even she's not sure how much saving she can actually do, but she is willing to die trying. The unicorns ask to be welcomed back into the herd. The rest of the unicorns turn to Eagle Raven, waiting for an answer. It is then that Eagle Raven realizes that by returning to Edenron and without Alaric, Lilith, or even Blackavar, she is now Queen Mare, that she now leads the herd of Edenron. And all the unicorns will follow her bidding. She welcomes the outcasts back, saying that all the unicorns are one herd and no one will be left behind, and to enter the pool to wash away their regret. The group enters, and Eagle Raven and the unicorns welcome them back. Right? So it's like, I just killed two birds with one stone here. Right? And then, nearby, the men are watching from behind a cluster of reeds, completely moved by what they had witnessed. After finishing his own prayer, Johar softly tells everyone they should go back and that their clothing should be dry by now. And that's kind of like how there's a little bit more, but like I said, I'm still massaging this. It's like everyone silently turns back following. Desmond says Desmond says that of all the magic that he has ever witnessed, because Desmond is a sorcerer, that was the most beautiful thing he has ever seen. Daniel nods while saying, yes, she is. Because I'm a dork. So that's the scene. So I was able to like massage these two problems together, and I think I came with a scene that actually makes sense in the story now. So now it's just going to find the right place to put this to put this uh uh to put this scene in. Gina goes, do you know the difference between a Barak and a Pegasus? I think a Barak is Barak? Barak. Isn't that like from Mesopotamia? It's kind of like a Pegasus, but it's more like deer-like. Or is that the one with the human head? Right? I think that right, because I know that there's one that's kind of like a deer, and that there's one with the human head with the beard, but I think it has like a lion's body, but it has wings. Um, yeah, so it's like it's either like Mesopotamian or I think it's from like, but then again, it's like Iraq too, from that region as well. Melissa goes, I never thought dragons would eat my face. Exactly. Right, exactly. Um, and Nicholas goes, oh, I did not expect the melty swoon moment as I work and listen. Now I am misty eyed. And mind you, this is just me. This is just a very rough thing that I wrote in my notes app. And in the end, it's like, and I spent, there's a couple of, actually, yeah, there's a couple of more things, but pretty much that's all I was doing. I have all these notes here. Um, so yeah, so it's like I think that's a lot better than rotting on Facebook, don't you think? you know, I mean, and it's like, and then it's like, what's funny is that, so I've just been like spending time. I had spent like the entire time just like thinking about all these other things. Um, and just like kind of ruminating on this story, and fixing, and then inking and ruminating, and and that's you're right. Oh, rough hewn knives still cut, Daphne. Yeah. Yeah, but I knew you'd appreciate that whole thing. um so so it's like, yeah, so that's what happened. I Just by not having social media on my phone and really, really limiting what I was watching on YouTube, um, I was I was like, I don't know why this surprised me that I was able to get my brain to like actually be creative again. you know? The Barocks since the 11th century have had human faces. Okay, so we're thinking about the same thing, yeah. Um, so you know, so it's like, yeah, so it was just like really, really like, and the funny thing about it is like how absolutely addicted I became to that feeling. Like, that dopamine hit that they keep talking about, that's the reason why you scroll mindlessly on Facebook, right? I think I got a strong, I honestly, not that I think, I know, I got a stronger dopamine hit by forcing myself to not be on social media and solving these creative problems that I had. I mean, it was euphoric to tell you the truth. Like, I just kept like doing it, that it's just like I wasn't going to go on social media. Now, granted, it's like, I mean, I do have, like I said, I was keeping up with YouTube, right? Um, and I did some things, like, and it's like I spent some time fixing up my YouTube channel, and like redoing some titles and summaries and stuff. Like I just don't, I, I just don't like doing that on my phone, but I was forcing myself to do that because I had wanted to really fix up, just clean up a bit. That was like the closest to social media stuff that I did. I've been trying to spend more time doing nothing, just sitting and letting my thoughts wander. It's done wonders for my stress levels. Yeah, that was also the other thing too that I noticed. By not Now, ever since I got back, I have made it a point to not go on social media. Like I said, I only have like, even though I have my links on my, I have social media on my computer because I still have to do updates and stuff, but I only want to go on social media only when I'm doing those updates. I don't want to go back into the habit of just using it as a time killer, because you know what? I have better things to do with that time than to just kill it. I don't need to kill time. I need to just do the things I need to do with that time. Why am I giving my time away to social media when I can do things with it? There's no reason for that. So that's so that was like a thing that I went out of my way to do since I got back, is to stay off of social media. Um like I said, if you need to contact me through Facebook, I'm available. I have Messenger, but like actually be on Facebook, I'm, on Instagram, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm only being on those things when I need to post to it, not because I'm bored. No, it's like, you know what? My boredom is sacred. What I learned from this trip is my boredom is sacred, and that it leads me to the places where I need to be. Um, and Melissa had mentioned the stress levels, and it's like, and I found by doing that, it's really have calmed down kind of like the voices in my head. The constant like yammering that you kind of get in the back of your head because it's like you're seeing other people's bullshit and you're mentally getting involved in other people's bullshit when you have nothing to do with that. So, by really limiting my social media, I was able to kind of like really calm that down. And and my goal is to continue that. So, so that's the thing, it's like I want to focus more on YouTube, because that's also another thing too that I use that time to think about is how I'm going to restructure what I do in terms of social media, in terms of promotion, in terms of marketing, in terms of what I do for Kickstarter and all that stuff. It's like, for my comics, I have another file where it's just all the things that I want to concentrate on and the stuff that I want to get rid of. And part of that is getting rid of short form social media because I've just realized that it doesn't do anything for me. The people that I want to engage with are the people who want to engage with the type of thing that I'm offering right now, where it's like, if you can engage with me when I'm lore dumping for an hour and a half on a live stream, you're the person I want to talk to. You're the person that I want to show my stuff to. You know, if you can only stand me for 30 seconds at a time, you know, that's that's not that's not the relationship I want to build. You know, I mean, I remember telling Nita, it's like, it's like the reason why I like YouTube and I like streaming is because this is where our friends are. And just by looking at the chat, that's exactly what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's like, all my beautiful eyeball people, all my chat people, you're all my friends. We're all hanging out, right? And this is what I like doing, you know? Um, You know, Facebook, Lou says Facebook is not worth anyone's time with their 5-day delay on notifications. I know it's ridiculous, right? And it's like, and I'm tired of catering to, tired of catering to that, and it's like, and I want to hang out with the people I want to hang out with, you know, and, Facebook serves as a nice reminder to people, but if I want to hang out, if we want to spend quality time together, it's going to be here on YouTube. So, and what an hour and a half of lore dump. Love an in-depth dive into writing and comics. Right. And you see, and that's the thing too, right? Is that if you're here with me for an hour and a half, it means you're into what I'm doing. And and it's like, yeah, let's hang out. It's like I want to show you my stuff. It's like I want to share this. It's like, yeah, I know that I say that I do. I do my books, I do my comics for myself, but the ultimate goal is to share it. I want to share it. That's where it's like, yeah, I could do, like, yeah, I could do it for myself, but I get off on sharing. Maybe I should rephrase that. I get my dopamine hit by sharing it. I mean, it's like, you know, um, and it's like, that's what I want to encourage. And that's what being able to get bored really showed me, you know, that, I mean, really, it was, yeah, like I said, boredom is sacred. Your boredom is sacred. Don't give it away to social media when there's so much you can do by being bored. that actually means something. And it's like, yeah, so that's what I learned on my summer vacation. you know um so yeah, so I'm glad, judging from the comments, everybody was, pretty much, enjoyed what I just did here. you know Um, Thank you so much to all the beautiful eyeball people listening to me in the background. I hope that you used this time to get, whatever it is that you needed to get done, right? And I hope that, that you also use your boredom in a very productive way. That's not mindlessly scrolling on Facebook, looking at stupid, reels that you're not even going to remember once you pass it, you know? Um, it's like I get off on sharing. Somewhere Nita is laughing hysterically, and I love that for her. You are a giving, funny person. Thank you. It's the trauma. HR. Thank you. Oh my goodness. So I think we had a good, productive hour and a half. And let me see, let me just find all my stuff here. So thank you everybody for joining me, for keeping me company in the chat. Thank you everybody in the chat: Nicholas, Melissa, Lou, HR, uh uh, Joseph, thank you, Gina. Thank you for keeping me company. And yes, and thank you to my beautiful eyeball people for watching as well. Like I said, if you're watching me here on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, and I don't know, continue the discussion down below. It's like, what plot hole are you working on, that you think that you need to fix, or you're kind of like thinking about, that's bothering you in your story, and you need that time. This is a safe let's not encourage Nita. Actually, yes, let's encourage Nita. you know so what are you guys working on that you're kind of like ruminating on, and you're still trying to figure out? It's like, come on, because in the end, this is fun. This is really fun. It's like, and I think that social media steals that from us, when we just allow ourselves to get sucked into that, and it's like, nah, yeah, save your fun for yourself. um so that's it for me. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today on this hour and a half. Again, all the good luck to Nita and C at their appointment today. If there was an appointment today, I don't know. It's like I'm assuming there was an appointment today, and hopefully next Monday we will be back. The two of us, and continue whatever discussion comes to mind, that we talk about, because, like I said, we're hanging out with our friends. We could talk about anything. Be free. So if you want to learn more about me, my artwork, my everything, my upcoming campaigns, all that fun stuff, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a Lord of the Rings fantasy furry adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales. That's TAILS online.com, and read the archive there. As you can see, I have put QR codes on the screen for everybody watching this on their TV, or you're just watching it in the background and you just want to click that QR code to go directly to the websites, so you can check out the comic archives there. And speaking of QR codes, don't forget, hold on, let me just, and speaking of QR codes, don't forget to sign up right here to sign up for my newsletter right here. If you visit my websites, also, you can sign up there on the website. You can sign up with this QR code right here, where you can keep up to date. With all of my new art, my sketchbooks, my comics, my Kickstarters, all in one place. And you get free PDF comics for joining as well. So you get to try out Eager Raven for free. You get to try out Tall Tales for free. You even get to try out the Oswald Chronicles for free just by joining my mailing list and getting my newsletter. So, so go ahead, scan away. Just trying something new here. Oh my goodness. So thank you so much again. Again, we'll see you on Monday. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?